Okay, remember they're changing my voice. So this part is very, very important. I wouldn't blame people if when they watch the whole thing, they just watch this one again 4 or 5 times. Okay, I'm sorry that other people are so immature and racist, and there's social clubs, and there's some kind of weirdos, and it's kind of insecure homosexuals, and kind of crazy racist Jews and whites, and crazed token minorities who kind of have a broken heart or some broken spirit, and then have done what they said. I mean, but they changed the voice. That is something that you need to understand, because voices communicate something, and one of those things they appear to communicate that they don't communicate so much anymore these days because all the confusion and technology and poisons and all the stuff that's going on with the supercomputers changing human behavior. And I think that 20 years ago people said that's paranoid, but it's 2022 now. And 20 years ago they had a lot of effective technology. They put a man on the moon decades before, and we live in that time where they use any excuse they can for some superficial excuse behind the scenes, just for good measure, to have supercomputers that are influencing certain events and enhancing the psychological effect of certain psychological moments and events. Okay, so psychological warfare and propaganda has achieved a certain point, and I have a degree in information technology. I can assure you that I'm correct, where they have computers assisting the process, going beyond just tracking your internet behavior and recommending ads. That stuff they've been doing that forever. Yeah, this stuff goes far beyond that, and they're actually controlling human behavior to an extreme degree these days. But there's still no excuse. Everyone is still conscious of right and wrong. They know better. They made a conscious decision to be evil. Okay. So now let me get to the different spirits. Okay, so let's talk about African Americans real quickly, because let's talk about the Crip gang, African Americans. Let's talk about the kind of diversity of the Crip gang. Okay, in the Crip gang, you have everyone from people like 666. I'll use some kind of rappers to help you understand. You know, um, for at least some of the people I use will be rappers. 666, he worships the devil. Okay, where Crip, when I was told, it meant two things: Christ rest in peace, and community revolution in progress. And later on, I heard that Raymond Washington had said something to the effect of, you come into the world in your crib, and you leave in a crip. You leave as a crip, and in terms of people who are crips, and it has something to do with the crypt, the grave thing, a crypt, your crypt, right, your tomb, whatever that thing is. Okay. I never took much interest in the intricacies, the specifics of burial, because to me, how you live is more important than how you're buried. I don't care if I get cremated myself. Okay, so especially when you look at the money attached. I mean, it's a sad day when people, are starving, and and people are spending like $1 million on their grave, or however much they spend. That's a disgrace. You know what I'm saying? You think people should have some fancy burial while people are starving, and so on and so forth. Just sick. Anyway, so as we look at this thing, you know, what are the spirits? So some of these guys worship the devil. Some of these guys are former military. Some of these guys are comedian, kind of Chris Rock kind of type of guys. You know what I'm saying? Some of these guys are more Ice-T, kind of old school villain. Some of these guys, Ice Cube, kind of almost, kind of fake seeming. Ice Cube when he's younger, kind of there's a component of some that seem fake. Movie kind of guy. Super Hollywood. In fact, what I'm saying, some people said he wasn't even Crip, but there's some Crips who are more like him one way or another. And lots of them historically were very serious guys. I'm saying, straight killers, hustlers, kind of top hat, roll the dice, Cadillac, I'm saying, Impala, I'm saying, some of these guys Mercedes Benz. There's a lot of different spirits there. The African American spectrum is the dominant spirit of the Crip gang, and even white people who are Crips here and there try to come into it for the most part. They try to find some kind of commonality, some kind of uniformity. Okay. So me, okay, and this part is very key. You might think this, oh, why is he telling us? Well, no shit. You have to build up to understand why I'm right, and you'll see why I said this and so on and so forth. Okay, so me, I'm mulatto. I lived in a nicer area by San Jose. Okay, a place called Saratoga. by Los Gatos, one of the most expensive places to live in California, probably in America in general. It's up there somewhere. Then we moved to Morgan Hill when I was like 12 years old or so. Okay, I went to both reform school and boarding school in Southern California. And then I got kicked out and went to a reform school and went to Ascent. I went to different high schools, including a Christian school, okay, adult school, went to boarding school, of course, what have you. Okay, so who I am, how I developed was extremely different than Crips. So what are the commonalities? A resentment for women treating guys unfairly, a resentment for guys who treat women unfairly, a resentment for, the state, resenting the state, right? Wanting a revolution to occur and for black people to be treated fairly, for all people to be treated fairly. The first thing a black person learned, as one person pointed out, is why not to be a racist. So a certain resentment for racism. Not all Crips feel that. Some of them are racist, but certainly white racism directed at black people. Okay, a certain appreciation for the music, for the dance, for the style. Okay, a certain inclination to hang out with one's own race because of the racism in America. Remember, I grew up in the 80s. I mean, America's still racist. Okay, and there's different groups. There's thugs and populars and jocks and floaters. People float from one group to another, artsy. So there's all kinds of different types of people. Okay, so I made a song when I was in my 20s, I believe, with a female from England, and she was singing and so on and so forth. I was rapping. And she says, "You're the kind of Crip that I like." And I think I wrote her the lyrics. I'm almost positive. I wrote the lyrics for her to sing, and I sent her the vocals, and they were kind of in a shot. She had some kind of program to really remove all the nonsense, because I just made it on my webcam or something, and I recorded or something like that, and I sent it to her, and then she put the song together. Okay, and she says, "You're the kind of Crip that I like, right? The kind of Crip, the kind, the mind." The soul, the mind, and the kind. Psyche meaning soul and mind. So what kind is that? Well, the first thing you need to know about my spirit is it's transcendent. There's nothing like it here. It's not like Jamaicans, it's not like Brazilians, it's not like Nigerians so much. It's not like, the closest thing might very well be, the closest thing is Igbo, but it's beyond that. It's like the Igbo is like a footprint, and I am like the life form that made the footprint. You see what I'm saying? And everything else, they're similar footprints and something like this. Okay, so there is a clash, kind of like colors clash. And at times there's some kind of more intense clash between the other spirits, okay, in the world and God's spirit, which only comes through me. The Royal African Falcon, chosen by God to be naturally superior, to be like God where no one else is like God. The Son, as the Bible says in 2 Corinthians 4:4, it says Satan is trying to blind the world and lead him astray, and the Son is the exact image, the exact likeness of God. What are they talking about? Okay, they're talking about that spiritual essence. And since God is a warrior, it is projected best through martial arts, which is part of why these Satanists in America, and their globalist allies and their massive network, which basically includes everyone else to some degree, wittingly or otherwise, went out of their way to conspire and to use their YouTube allies and their allies in the tech industry to change my videos and to cover up the spirit of God, which is not perfectly illustrated on camera, mind you, but you could see a lot. Just like you look a little bit different on camera, okay, the Spirit of God looks a little different on camera, but you can still see something there. Okay, you can see the world record speed, you can see the intensity, you can see the moments. They've changed it basically entirely. You can kind of theorize based on what is left. What it used to look like. It's not gayish, it's not Jewish, it's not token minority, it's not white, it's not church-like, it's not synagogue, it's not mosque, it's not like anything you've seen. It's Royal African Falcon, top martial artist, okay, significantly, black people are more like white people than they're like, this particular spirit. You see what I'm saying? The gap is bigger. That's why G is an earth deity and Set is a deity of foreigners. Foreign to what? The Royal African Falcon martial art order, right? Whether you're talking about Osiris and the mysteries there, or you're talking about God and God's son, okay, either way you're talking about God through a line, right? Osiris, the father of Horus, in that thing, you know, that's how the Egyptians were trying to describe it, and they themselves superimpose on paganism and fake Christianity and all this stuff. It's all superimposing itself on the Royal African Falcon Martial Art Order, and there's more than enough evidence that that's the case scientifically, and more often than not, at least in their own systems, like in Egypt, right? Haro Aries, the Igbo Eri, right? Horus, another word for Horus. Haru Eri. Eri is Haru, aka Eri. Okay, and of course there's some bitch ass motherfuckers. You know, a lot of you people, you know, when we see today, it suggests that this happened long ago, and they call the regions in Egypt, they call them gnomes. And what is a gnome? It's a small guy. What is an elf, right? A fairy. These are magical, small little guys. Okay, and I don't give a shit about height, but we got to put things in perspective here. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm just trying to say it. What comes to mind, boom. Okay, they try to put themselves above, and it's fucking retarded. It's like Harry Potter trying to put himself above Michael Jordan, but far worse. Say, hey, I'm the real Michael Jordan. I taught him everything, and you didn't teach him shit. Shut the fuck up, you sniveling worm. Shut up. You see how it pisses you off, right? He's trying to take credit from Michael Jordan, and he's trying to fucking get the women and the money that Michael Jordan would get. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking pathetic. Now imagine that on the most divine, important context. Hey guys, we're chosen, not him. It's fucking pathetic. There's no excuse for it. And right there in their own Bible, Genesis 10, it says Nimrod was a mighty warrior before the Lord, and he's from the area of where Abraham was born, where he's not from the area, he established the area. Right? Ham begot Cush, Cush begot Nimrod, Nimrod founded Babylon, and Abraham was aware of the saying that it said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter, a mighty warrior hunter before the Lord. Okay? So when we say, you know, what kind of crip does she like, as the argument that I was having her express as part of my art, okay? It was like Nimrod, but in reality, not in the story, not some Middle Eastern black guy that you might picture, but like Nimrod, like the true top martial artist who's a mighty warrior before God, right? Like Horus, like what Horus is superimposed on, right? The Royal African Falcon. The falcon is a good symbol because it's faster and master. And it flies high toward the sun. And the sun is the symbol of God's son, the S-U-N and the S-O-N. So that's fair enough. So that's why I say Royal African Falcon Martial Art Order. This argument does not exist in any book you're going to read unless I wrote it or something. Okay, it's something that, you know, I said, how do I describe this? Well, the Egyptians were kind of close with Horus. Okay, the Christians were kind of close with the birds that they, you know, that have a divine significance at times. So I said this. So we see the, you know, kind of African American hustler, the African American Satanist, the church raised but refused to accept the Messiah African American, the secret society, the CIA guy, the informant. There's all kinds of different spirits mixed in there, and they have their selfish goals, and they feel some type of way about God. When they hear the word God, they say, man, God Almighty, you know, they're in a better place now, whatever they might say in the particular kind of accent, depending on their respective grouping and region that they might use in their particular how they're raised, and so on and so forth. So, you know, I have a certain kind of affinity, perhaps is the word, a certain kind of love, but you must justice comes before love. So I might say, you know what I'm saying, I like this rapper over here, I like this gangster over here, I like his style, I like the way he carries himself, I like the way he's friendly, he's not an arrogant asshole, I like the way he's not like, you know what, fuck you, I'm a gangster, and I don't know the fuck you are, you don't seem like you're even hood, nigga, what's your problem? You know, I like the way that some people are smarter than that. You see what I'm saying? And so some of these guys, I like their style to some degree in a sense, but I don't like Satan in their style. I don't like the way they cheat me out of my rightful place. And that goes for every culture other than the Royal African Falcon Martial Art Order. If you're not that culture first and foremost, then you're cheating me out of my rightful place. You see in the book Fighting for Honor, it says that the exceptional practitioner, the exceptional adept,